Good morning, all you wonderful blokes and Sheilas out there. How's everyone dealing with their, oh my God, elbow just one hangover? I tell you what, it's a bit rough on this end. Maybe I should have put some vodka in my juice this morning. I don't know. I might make that decision afterwards. Anyway, let's tuck right into it. Today, I've got Kyle's Jack here to have a yarn about the Cassowary Coast and their wonderful council. Full sarcasm intended there. So let's bring them straight in. G'day, Kyle's. How you going?
Hello, I'm good. And how's yourself?
Oh, dealing with this elbow hangover, but I'll live. And Jack, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good yourself.
Yeah, like I said, hangover, elbow one. Yeah. And one hell of a kick in the pants, but we'll survive. But anyway, enough about the miserable side of things. Actually, let's get into some more miserable things. What the hell is going on the Cassowary Coast?
I don't. Yeah, you go. You go.
Oh, well, you know the council. It's just full of corruption, full of lies. We went around the community a couple of days ago to find out. We got onto a list of the people that were hurting with the what is the rates. We drove around. We seen the people on the list and had a chat with them, and more or less, most of them, it's hardship, nothing more than that. And how we've been all treated is just been, everything's been done behind our backs. No court cases, nothing, no documents served, like that. So it's just been pretty bad. But you got a 90-year-old lady, grandmother, just in tears that a neighbour had to step in to look at paying her rates.
Wow.
And there's another one, a veteran. He had to rent his house out, and he's living in the back shed.
Disgraceful.
Yeah. Then there's other farmers like me. This banana farmer I wasn't able to get in contact with, but there was another cattle farmer in the same position as us and got treated exactly the same. Even when they got judgments against us, they didn't notify us. They left it for 6 months while racking up the interest. So mine went from like $45,000 to $80,000.
So let's take us to the beginning, of the story here. What exactly happened? Did they just up the rates and not tell you? How has this situation come to pass?
Well, the land valuation starts with always the land valuations. They go up. You can object to it, but at the end of the day, it's a waste of time, I feel.
I think I was going to say, Jack, sorry. I think most people have their own situations why this arises. Like Jack said, one was a veteran. He wasn't even, home. He was working away. One was a little old lady. I think they've all got their own reasons why they fell into this situation. I've only been in the Cassowary Coast for a year. I moved up from the Gold Coast and from the Northern Rivers region, where the council down there is just a shot. So we're talking about Cassowary Coast right now today, but there are a million other stories out there Australia-wide on councils and corruption and just crazy. Gold Coast, you've got a view tax on your building. We've got a lady that was in her driveway, sleeping in her driveway, and got an $800 fine because she was sleeping in her driveway. Crazy situations. I feel the urge to say something to the people listening that are on the other side of the coin, because Jack and I are here to support those that are struggling. We are all struggling. The cost of everything has gone up. Now, there's a lot of people out there struggling and not knowing, you know, where to go, what to do. The cost of living crisis, you know, the rates go up, the mortgage goes up, the interest goes up. I think there's a lot of people, like in the group that I created, the other side of the coin is the people that say, if you use a service, you must pay for it. I have to say to all of those people that are listening right now, you never know when it's your turn. You could be in a car accident. Anything could happen to take you away from earning wages. And you are now on that list to lose your house. Is that right? Do they have a right to take our houses from us because we've fallen into hardship? You know, those people, I just wanted to say to them, you never know when it's going to be you. And I'm sure when it is you, then you will worry and stand up and start screaming and saying, this is not fair that the council do this.
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be things in place that cover people under hardship.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know here in Townsville there is a hardship claim that you can make if you're in that situation, and you know they'll graciously allow you to pay it off without interest. But what happened with you, Jack, where you've tried to fight back against this the situation? Well, maybe we'll talk about your personal experience because you were telling me a little bit about it yesterday, and you ended up with a huge amount of money owed. Run us through from start to finish what happened with you, buddy.
Well, with me, it's more or less because I've got 2/3 of rainforest and 1/3 of grazing land. They decided, well, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's just I went to Bob Catter's to find out about what they could do. They said it's got nothing to do with them. It's not federal. They sent to Shane Canute's office. I went there and they said they don't have anything to do with it because it's not state. I said, well, who is it then?
Yeah.
And who deals with them? Are they just a rogue entity? They said they can't do anything about it. They said they might be able to write a letter to them, but doesn't mean they're going to respond to them. So that was the outcome. So I got a phone call from the valuations office, and they just more or less said that you can object to it, but or you can take the land court, and they said you won't win. So that was about it.
Oh, well, that's nice of them to determine the outcome before it even happened.
Yeah, so that's it. So then, just went on from there, just writing council letters, and they don't respond to you. The CEO doesn't respond to you. Your letters, so it's been off and on. I, offered to pay. They didn't respond to that. Just lack of response. Debt collector, same thing. It was all done behind my back. It was like 5 months before I found out they had a claim and a statement against me. I was never served any paperwork. Then I got a letter from them stating that they got paperwork in the court. So I went to the courts. It took me 3 weeks to prove who I actually were to the courts to get that claim. By the time I got the claim and responded to the debt collectors that proof of their delivery of service, well, they had a judgment against me. Unknowns to me, no one contacted me for 6 months until I opened council letter saying they're going to potentially sell the place on me. And then on the fee schedule, there's a thing saying judgment fee. So I emailed the courthouse, and they sent me the judgment thing. So since for that 6 months, it's just doubled in interest and everything else and any other charges I want to put on there. So to date, the council still haven't notified me they've got a judgment against me.
So how did you find out about it?
How do I find about it? Like I said about the claim, they posted a letter to me, the debt collectors, and that was it. So the judgment,
So the
courts
debt
are
collectors
happy
got
with
onto you, but nobody else did.
Yeah, no one else did.
Mm.
You know, they just let us know that there's a letter. There's a claim in the courthouse.
Wow.
By the time and that was 5 months prior, but then they got a judgment straight away without none of them responded to my letters either. So I just thought, oh well, no one's talking to me, so nothing's happened. But once again, within I think it was 2 or 3 weeks of me getting that claim, I had a judgment against me, and the court was satisfied, even though that they knew that I would not get letters sent to my residential address. They were still satisfied that the debt collectors did everything right. You know, they were satisfied with it. So, and they know, the ladies in the courthouse know that I cannot get paperwork served here by post. Through my
We
PO
don't
box
have
address.
post boxes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's no mailbox out your way.
Yeah.
Everyone we talked to the other day, virtually the same thing happened. I think one got paperwork served. The other farmer got nothing. The veteran, the old lady, they said they got nothing. It was just done behind our backs, just corrupt, just how they're treating us. While they're still charging interest,
Yeah.
they're still not notified.
And
so
I think also, I was going to say, I think also a lot of people don't realise, okay, when I was in the Northern Rivers Council, and I know it's not here, what we're dealing with here now, but I got into hardship and they offered to give me a reduction in the interest, but the principal was still needing to be paid with no reduction. So it just borders on insanity, to be honest.
They want their money. They don't care how.
And also the point I was trying to make was that the council rates are 6 months ahead. So when they start bombarding you with you're late, you're not even late. You haven't even used the services yet. So, until it's 6 months past, how are they even whacking interest on something that you haven't even used yet? That's the thing I can't get my head around. And interest for what? Can someone explain to me? Like, I haven't taken out a loan, I haven't done a crime. I'm just poor and I'm struggling.
Signed a contract agreeing to this stuff, That's the way I understand. You go to the shops and you buy something. You've made a conscious decision to walk into that. I'm going to pick this up off the shelf. I'd like to purchase this. When it comes to the government services, it's not. You're just paying. There's no contract. There's no discussions. Yep. Bend over and take it.
Yep. And then we'll whack interest on that too.
If you look in the Local Governments Act 2012 of regulations, Part 10 concessions 120, it states the local government may grant the concession only if it is satisfied. And if you go down to C, it says payment of rates or charges that will cause hardship of land to the landowner. So, where's that? So I went to them.
So that's the Local Government Act, is it?
Yeah, Local Government Act. If you go into Part 10 concessions 120 1C.
So Jack,
to them over 3.5 years ago to the council and rang up and says, I'm in hardship. They said that I could not put an application in. They had nothing there. Too bad, too sad. Go away.
Yeah.
So these people, so they're asking under hardship to council and getting knocked back. Now these people on the chopping block for the next round of auctions, they're now asking for hardship for their superannuation. So how many times do they have to beg for hardship?
What was that section again? Sorry, mate. 120, did you say?
Oh, it's Yeah, it's a local government regulations 2012. Part 10
Oh,
is concession.
okay. I've got the wrong bit of legislation. Sorry. Let's try that
Yeah.
again. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna go here. So say that again. So local
Government regulation 2012. It says chapter 4 rates and charges, part 10 concessions. You go down to 121C. Page 86.
got it here. 120, section 1.
Yeah, so
The,
tells you what they should
yeah.
do.
May grant the
So it's
concession
always,
only if it is satisfied the payment of rates charges will cause hardship to the landowner, or the concession will encourage the economic development of all or part of the local government area. Rightio.
so it's up to their discretion. But for me, they wouldn't give it to me. They wouldn't even let me apply for it.
Wow, that's insane.
So what happens to all these people who got knocked back for this and are trying for hardship under superannuation and get knocked back the second time under superannuation? What happens then?
Well, this is clearly an issue, and I find it disturbing that you've gone to your state member who should be reining these people in, because via referendum we said we didn't want local government, but we ended up with local government anyway. It was the state government who's provided the act for local government in the first place. So it is, as far as I'm concerned, this is a state issue, and I wouldn't be fucking taking it from Shane Knuth or any other bloody member of the state saying it's not our problem. Bullshit. The state government has caused this problem, because it's their legislation that has allowed this to happen. So I'd be giving old mate a good, waking up and saying, well, okay, here's the state legislation that points to local government. Your state government, tell me how this isn't your fault or your problem. This makes no sense. It sounds just like he's trying to pass the buck more than anything.
Can I please add something else, which is a valid point? I was just reading one of the comments there about rent prices doubling. I would like your listeners to kind of understand. I was a landlord, no longer. Okay. I rented out my house in the Northern Rivers region. And what I did to work out the rent, because I was renting elsewhere, I had work elsewhere, so I had to rent elsewhere. So to put someone in my house, I basically, the insurance, the rates, the mortgage cost, everything, I added it all up, divided it by 52, that's the rent, right? So all of my bills were covered. I wasn't making a cent. But about a year after moving to the Gold Coast and renting, and I was paying high rent on the Gold Coast myself, I had to raise the rents because the mortgage went up, the insurance went up, the land rates went up, interest rates went up. I was actually paying for someone to live in my house.
Yeah.
While I was paying rent elsewhere. I don't think people understand that landlords are struggling too. I hear it every day. Landlords are ripping us off. It's the landlords. It's the landlords. If only our listeners can stop and understand it's not us, we the people. We need to come together.
Yeah.
Yes, you have your landlords out there that just,
Our governments have caused this problem, and I've seen, the fucking Greens getting around saying, oh, we're going to freeze rent increases. Okay, cool. So you've just destroyed the entire rental market. You guys are going to be homeless by the end of the year.
I sold my property because I sold my property and went cheaper for me to live in it by myself, so that I didn't have to stress or worry or, so there's a rental property gone off the market.
Madness. So you're putting an event together on the Cassowary Coast. I think now is probably a good time to sort of bring that into the mix here. Cassowary Coast Action Group. Enough is enough.
Yep.
I've been telling people about it for the last 2 days. It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. There was a double booking, you were saying.
Yes, they double booked the hall. So now we're bringing it forward one day to Tuesday, same time, 6 p.m. at El Arish Hall, just for anyone in the area of the Cassowary Coast to come listen to some of the people that are on the chopping block with their houses up for auction the following week. I mean, the whole reason I created this group with Jack is because there's 11 people going to be homeless. And that's not right. Who gives the council the right to put 11 people out on the street because they're suffering hardship? So I created the group after, realizing about these 11 people. And yeah, the meeting is for anyone that has any issues with the CEO wage increases or the councillor wage, because they all got paid a raise in their salary, and then sent out the valuations of properties just, a few weeks ago. My valuation has doubled.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got one of those horrific notices myself. I'm like, okay, cool. How do we deal with this one? So I'm thinking perhaps maybe, an independent assessor to come in and go, nah, these people are full of shit. I think that's might be the way to deal with this, is to get an independent assessor to come in and go, actually, is this correct? Is it really worth what they're saying? Because I can't help but feel, they've all gotten together in some sort of a, ploy to rob the people blind, and have come up with a bullshit land evaluation.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, what you got to realise that land valuations dictate what the rates are, plus the land tax. People don't realise that there's a hidden land tax from the state government.
Yeah.
And that is the I experienced it. I've been slugged like $6,500 on top of rates, and that, if you go look that one up, if you can make sense of it. But it's
and Jack is one of our farmers supplying food to us.
Yeah, hang on. What was that legislation, Jack?
It's if you go under state revenue, land tax, it's there. So once you go over the threshold, and this is why the valuations are going up and up and up, because once it goes over a threshold, for us it was because our farm's under a company, we got hit first. I contacted them, they told me that I was fully exempt. I don't have to worry about it. Within 3 months, I got a $6,500 notice. And that land tax, so it would be very getting close to for the residential people. I think it's, if it goes up to over 600,000 threshold for them, they'll get slug land tax. They don't realise this, that it's like an elephant in the room waiting to, it's crazy.
So, and again, there's your state member going, this has got nothing to do with us, but it's clear that the Queensland government is a big part of the problem. So like, they're obviously in cahoots with the council to fuck us all over as hard as they can.
Yeah. So you reckon rates is going to be bad? You wait till you get land tax on top. And that, I reckon it'll be close this time. I've been waiting for 3 years for the residents to get slugged. So I reckon, because some people go up to 90%, I'm up to 40%. Rise in the valuation.
Yeah, it was a big chunk of from what I've got here. I'm looking at it going, what? This makes no sense.
So if you can read that and make sense of that, land value, land tax. So yeah.
I'll definitely have to. I'll have to read up a bit more on this. This is I mean, it says here that you can apply for an exemption, but you were unable to apply for that exemption. You were saying like because you've got 2/3 rainforest, you shouldn't be paying land tax on what's unusable land. Your other 1/3 is farmland where you're producing. I think you're saying cattle. so we can all eat our steak. But there was something interesting you said to me yesterday too, mate, was that the price of cattle is in 70s prices. You're getting bugger all for the price of your cattle.
Yeah,
yet I go down to the butchers and it's like $90 a kilo for a bit of steak. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, people don't realise that the cattle market dropped over 2 years ago, and farmers been struggling with those prices. So yeah, it's been dropped about 40 to 50%, give or take. Then the store prices have gone up, and they're going up. Yeah. They're still going up.
It makes no sense. I mean, cool. You're selling your cattle at 70s prices. Can I have 70s prices for my steak too? Like
the problem also with farmers like Jack is that in Mission Beach we currently have a community-run co-op that supplies direct from the farmers fresh fruit and vegetables. Jack was part of the co-op that can supply his cattle, direct to the people. The people don't support the community. They've got like 30 fruit and veggie boxes going out, on a week, every Saturday, to beat Coles and Woolies, keep cash circulating, helping the farmers. More people need to understand if they want to eat healthy and they want to help and support the farmers, get more community minded. The co-op, Mission Beach, it's going to shut down. We've got one more week left of it, and it's shut down, gone for good.
So, tell me, what's the deal with this co-op? What's happened there? So you said you were a part of it past tense, and it's about to shut down. What's going on, man?
Jack, would you like to?
Yeah, there was a couple, Colette and Lance, that started it up. They were passionate about
yep, I know them.
Fruit and veg and whatever, and get the community, get wholesale. You get your fruit and veg wholesale price.
Mungali Dairy is on board.
Dairy at the wholesale price.
Yeah,
you don't hear of that. So they were doing that, and they were getting up to 40 boxes a week, but now they're down to 13 boxes a week, and they're going to make 13. A trip to Cairns every week, and it's just not viable anymore. They're not getting the support. I called out because I couldn't. It just didn't make sense for me, because I was doing 4 to 5 boxes a week, but then went down. So to nothing. So it's not worth it. The community's not hurting enough.
They like the convenience and they like to comply. They like to complain about Coles and Woolies and the high prices, but when we as a community give them an alternative, they just don't want to put in the effort to drive just that little bit further to get all of their fresh fruit, veggies, dairy, meat, seafood, chocolate. It was all through the co-op in Mission Beach.
Disgraceful. This is does your head in. Like,
how do we change people's mindset?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
The only way we're going to win this community is to come together. As simple as that.
Yes.
There's no other way. Until people realise that, it's no use doing petitions. It's no use complaining. We've got to front up at the council meetings and be a sort. Just be there, be present, and see what they're actually doing. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, it's disgraceful stuff. I mean, you like you see, you're a farmer. You're producing the food for us to eat, and here's the council and government's undermining your position. Like, what are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? We're going to have to turn. We're going to have to eat the councilors, and we're going to have to eat the state government. I guess they're the first ones on the chopping block, because when we've got no meat. Food, eat the bugs. Eat the bugs.
Me, the amount of rates I'm paying without the land tax, just the amount of rates I'm paying, it's like I may as well just round up 20 head of cattle and give and dump them at the council door, because that's how much they take from me every year before I get
wow.
even over a dime. So I can't make a living
of your what percentage of your herd is that? Like 10, 20% of your herd?
I reckon about 7 to 8%.
Yeah,
maybe a bit more, of the herd that they get, before I can turn over a profit. But the cattle market's gone to, to the dogs. So, I'm not making nothing. I've got to sit on my cattle and hope the hell the cattle market picks up.
And
so
I bought Jack.
This? I'm trying to. How the hell are we in 1970s prices for cattle at this point? What's happened?
What's happened is just, if you wait till what happened in America and other countries, when it happens
Coles
over
and
there,
Woolies slug the farmers. They tell the farmers, we're going to buy from you, and then they store it and don't sell it on the shelves. Like the eggs. The eggs are stored. People don't realize that eggs are stored, and yet we're going through an egg shortage and an egg crisis. They're stored because Coles and Woolies want the monopoly.
Sorry,
you
Jack,
got MLA, Meat Livestock Australia. You got Meat Livestock Australia promoting eating bugs, instead of promoting eating meat. So they're part of the agenda. That's the problem we're facing, and they've destroyed. People say, "Oh no, it's just the cycle." Well, it's not the cycle. To me, it's been deliberately done. There's no reason for the cattle market to drop like that.
I bought Jack's meat, and it was a great price, and it was great meat. No crap added into it, vaccines or whatever added into, his meat. But just the few customers that supported him through the co-op, it's not enough.
Yeah. Well, now I realize I've actually bought some of your meat before. I didn't realize it was Colette and Lance that were doing that, because I've had a few people who went on their way up to Mission Beach go, "Hey, do you want to grab a box of meat or two?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bloody oath." So I've done my bit from all the way down here in Townsville,
Wow.
So I don't understand why people up that way aren't jumping on it. Like, I mean, I got to wait for somebody who's going up there, or one of us going out that way. We buy a few boxes for everybody here. And again, I think this is something, community, we've got to get together. Is there a way people can get a hold of you, Jack, and go, "Hey, mate, I want to buy a couple of boxes of meat directly from you and bypass this bullshit"?
Yeah, I suppose they can get onto me, but at the moment, I've just lost the passion.
Yeah.
At the moment, but we can talk.
The first thing we have to do is support the ones that are on the chopping block to lose their houses at auction. Yeah. We need as many people at this meeting on Tuesday night, because after the meeting at Tuesday night, depending on how many cannot get the money together via their superannuation through hardship, I then want as many people at that council chambers during that auction to, I don't know what we can do.
So that we're at that state where they're going to auction off everybody's land now.
Yes, it's set for the following week.
17th
so the 11th,
at the council chamber, council hall, foyer, they call it.
Fuck me.
So we need as many there.
Yep.
And
hopefully people can, access the hardship in time. But what if they can't?
Yeah.
Well, the people are there accessing their super to try and pay for the rates before. Yeah, one of the guys, another one of them does community work with disabled people, kids, homeless people, charities. He's been in the community all his life. He's what is it? I lost my train of thought again. He went to council, said, I'll give you $5,000 a month. And they said no. And that was it. So now he's got to sell his vehicle or sell something to try and get the rest of it to them or pay before the 17th. You know.
Wow. Criminal. Yeah. These people are criminals.
So, yeah. And he knows most of these councillors. They don't care. There's no compassion to anyone. You know.
Disgraceful.
The farmers, he's up to $30,000 a year in rates. Another cattle farmer, and he can't justify. He just can't.
I just want everyone to hear that, you know, it could be you next. So don't be complacent, don't be compliant, and don't just like wake up. It could be you next.
And that's exactly it. This is, you know, we know you'll own nothing and be happy is the motto of the UN at the moment, you know. So, and we can see this is where it's starting. They're already on the move. It's horrific.
Well, it's getting to the point that I feel that I'm better off just selling up, just moving on.
Yeah.
You know, and I bet there's a lot of farmers in that position because with everything that's happening, you know, even land titles, you know, if you know about the land titles, what Harris is doing, that, you know, we don't really own it anyway. So,
that's it. We've covered Len Harris's work on land titles here. You know, for anybody who's interested, you'll have to go back a few episodes, but we'll have to chase Len up again and see how he's going with that. I know he did have a court case ready to go, but he had to pull back because he realized the enormity of what he was about to do, and there was bits he hadn't sort of considered. So I know he was back at the back to the drawing board to try and figure out what was going to happen there. I'll have to chase him up, see how he's going. I think we're all on the edge of our seat to see how this one turns out. We are in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are, especially with Elbow winning again, which I think was more rigged than the wrestling, but that's another story. So Tuesday at the El Arish Town Hall, 6 p.m. for anybody in the area who wants to get involved and help out here. Definitely get down there. I think I'll be making an effort to get there myself.
Even people struggling with the fire ant problem, because I know that is another issue with council where they're just going in on your land and spraying your land, whether there's fire ants or not.
Yeah.
So
madness.
Whatever the issue is, whether it's your house is up for auction due to, lack of payment, the fire ants, the doubling of the property valuations, whatever your issue is with council, this is what Tuesday night is, 6 p.m, Al Arish Hall. Just come and have your say, be a voice. I think the more of us that come together and stand united, we can win.
Exactly. That's it. Everybody's got to get together. That's the only way to sort this shit out. And we do have a council epidemic across the nation. The more people I talk to, council seems to be one of the biggest problems that we're all dealing with, and they are the most corrupt and the least likely to give a shit about anybody. It's insane, giving themselves price, pay rises while everybody else is suffering is just a real kick in the pants. It's utterly disgraceful.
Look at the poor people in Mission Beach.
Well, that's another element we wanted to sort of bring to the table here. What's happening in Mission Beach? So it was kind of looking like this. Nice pavements, areas. Where was it? The pub up this way? Was it?
No, pub's up the other way.
Other way.
Going around up to the left. There they are. The tavern right beside it now on the left.
Yeah. So so this was all, you see everybody's having a good time there, but it looks a little bit more like a third world country at the moment. They've completely torn it up.
Most of those businesses are closed down, all those restaurants.
Absolutely destroyed the place. And for what? Because the Mission Beach Town Centre Revitalisation Project. Well, it looks really revitalised, doesn't it? Looks
And how long
wonderful.
has it taken?
And that
Yeah.
photo was taken that photo on the right was
It's in
taken
November.
6 months ago. Yep.
And it still looks like this, eh?
Well, it's like the post office couple. They got the land behind the post office that they got cattle on. The council went to them and says, "We want this part of the land," and they just went out there with spray paint and sprayed and said, "This is ours." They said, "No, we got to go to a thing." They pulled out of the discussion and said, "No, we don't want to sell it to you." And then now they've changed it from rural to tourism, so the rates are going to go through the roof. So they're going to break them to get their land.
Oh, you won't sell us your land. We'll make it so bloody hard for you that you have to give up anyway. Wow, that's just disgraceful, utterly disgraceful.
And that's what they're doing to the farmers.
Oh.
That's what they're doing to the farmers and the people in the community, the businesses in the community. Until the community comes together and starts supporting the people that are growing the food or making a product, whether it's a engineering joint or whatever. Get away from these bloody banks and this. But our council is the main problem of this community.
How much did the CEO of Woolworths just make the other day, Jack?
Oh, I forget what it was, but
it was
I can't remember.
in the millions.
Huge.
In the millions.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and yet people still support Coles and Woolies first before any community-run
our
co-op
CEO,
or
what I've been told, he's on $700,000 a year. Why is he on $700,000 a year? He wasn't even elected by the people.
Yeah,
Woolworths CEO staggering payout. So Woolworths CEO Brad Baducci, I'm guessing is how you say it, is set to walk away with a portfolio of about 24 million in Woolworths shares, along with a pro rata salary payout that is set to be about 6.5 million.
So I just read a comment
and it cost
before.
me $27 the other day to buy 4 liters of fucking juice and 3 liters of milk.
Yep. I just read a comment before, Buddy, where someone said a lot of us struggle to get to the farmers or the co-ops or things like that. Well, you're going to be struggling a lot harder when these situations are why we are struggling. We keep going and putting our money in Coles and Woolies, and you've got to pull back, do your co-op, go to your farmers first. Everywhere on the Cassowary coast, there are farmers with their watermelons in, a trailer out the front of their farm, with their bananas, with their pawpaws. Stop on the side of the road. Put $5. Give them, a $5 tip for their hard work and their effort. And then when you go to Coles and Woolies for all your other junk that you need, you've already done what like Mungali Dairy. Lance and Colette go up to Mungali Dairy and their food is top notch. You can't beat it, and Lance and Colette bring that dairy food down at wholesale prices, cheaper than you'll get their dairy products from Coles and Woolies. So everything that Lance and Colette have done to create the co-op, to give the community a service that helps the farmers, please stop making your excuses that it's too far to travel or it costs too much to get to the co-op. There were people there willing to help some people that, might have been disabled and couldn't get to the co-op or something like that. I myself will help those people. But if you're just being, pig-headed, sorry about your convenience, and you can do it all under the one roof, and you just want to comply, more people like the CEO of Woolworths are going to win, and sooner or later, all of us are going to suffer. You must speak with your feet, with your money. Put your money where your mouth is and start supporting community-funded initiatives. Stop with the excuses. There are no excuses.
I agree. At the end of the day, we're probably the first generation that's had supermarkets. They're not that newer
Well,
concept. You know, we
what
did
did
like,
they
you know,
do with?
talking to my parents, they never had supermarkets. Used to go down
Yep,
to the local grocers and all that
yep.
sort of stuff. Humanity's been on this planet for how friggin' long without fucking supermarkets? It's just a new
Yes.
little thing. You know, why are we so dependent on something that only just arose? You know, like
Why
so much
did
of the crap that's in our society is just brand new on the grand scheme of things. I don't understand why this is all so hard for people.
why did everyone not support Dick Smith? He came out and he tried to help the farmers, and he, you know, profit to charities. And, you know, I would talk to friends and I'd say to them, pardon my joke here, but I'd say, when you go to the supermarket, make sure you fill your trolley with Dicks first. You know, and my trolley, I would have the jam and the beetroot and the tomato sauce and the cereal. It was good products, and he was supporting the farmers. He went down because no one would support him. The jam was 5 cents more than the cheap Chinese rubbish.
Mm.
I don't
You know,
understand.
yeah, it does weigh. I mean, I've seen, you know, you think, you know, oh, buy me a car or something like that. Well, you know, again, that's another modern convenience that hasn't been around all that long. You know, it's only, you know, maybe 100 years, you know, and truth, my grandparents didn't even have car licenses, you know, did the
Yep.
old lady thing and push the little cart around and all that sort of stuff. They seem to survive somehow. It's amazing.
Yep.
You know,
We all survived
there are
during
one.
COVID. Let me just say that. Can I
Yeah.
just say that during COVID, we all survived without a job. Well, you know, us that did, right? We
Yeah.
survived with whatever was thrown at us, and we just got by and did what we did. Why all of
Yeah.
a sudden is it hard to stand up and support your community?
Mm.
I don't get it.
No, neither do I.
Well, you got to support your community, not the corporations. That's all it comes down to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Put the unity back in community.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So Tuesday, El Arish Community Town Hall, was it? 6 p.m. on Tuesday
Yep.
is where it is where it's happening for anybody in the area, you know, that wants to head in. There, you were mentioning a few other farmers are having the same issue. So it's not just our steaks that are at risk here. We're looking at bananas, and what other products are we looking at here from farmers that are losing their properties to this scumbag council?
Well, at the moment, it's just bananas and that. But the word out there that the poor industry is struggling as well. The bananas are. You know, that's what mainly grown in out. Sugar cane, they're suffering because of the excessive rain for the last 3 years. It's just not growing the way it should. They're not getting the yields they should, you know. But they're still surviving. You know, they're still okay at this stage. But I'd say a lot of them just not saying too much. Put it that way.
There's too many homeless struggling in our community as well. That's where my heart lies.
There's going to be a lot more if something doesn't change.
It's a knock-on effect.
You know, like I said, the guy that does all the community work, he could be out in the street. You know, when he supports all those people. You know, these are the people that are struggling. You know,
and
I don't know what can be done unless we come together. Yeah, everyone comes together.
Yep.
Exactly.
I
see this comment here from Jan, and I know Jan's been, you know, a long time viewer and whatnot. Surely there's something that can be done, Jan. Look, I don't know specifically your situation, but you know, neighbors, friends, there's plenty of people here in the chat. Does anybody live near Jan that can help Jan? And I'm sorry if this sounds insensitive, but you know, people with four kids, 6 kids, 10 kids have gotten around in the past without a car and gotten food from places. So I mean, I see all the reasons why you can't do stuff. what are the solutions for how you can do stuff? That's the thing, you know. Everybody's looking, and it's all around, not just you or every you know. People continuously do this. You know, I've got a friend who, you know, has got every excuse under the sun, but wants everything to change. What are you going to do about it?
They want everyone to do everything for them.
Yep.
It's like Coles and Woolies now. You know, you can pick up the phone and you can say, I want to order blah, blah, blah. And the staff run and fill out the trolley and they run it out to your car, and you just sit in your car and you've got your groceries delivered to you. Like, you haven't even had to walk around the supermarket to pick. Like, it's just laziness. I'm sorry. It's convenience, compliance, complacency. She'll be right, mate. And bottom dollar, laziness.
Yeah.
Well, it's not getting any easier.
Nope.
Anywhere.
Exactly,
you know?
Don. I like that comment. People always have excuses. There is a way, you know. Like I said, humanity has survived on this planet for I don't know how many thousands of years without these conveniences. We somehow did it.
Yep.
Well,
See,
it's like
they're making up.
Colin and Lance brought the food to them. You know.
Yeah.
I brought the food to them. But where was the support? We can, like the old lady said there, she's complaining about not having a car and all this, but the farmers drive to the bloody cities for years.
So Colette and Lance, Jack, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, wasn't it, that they would work to bring it down to Mission Beach, to have it at the Mission Beach Hall every Saturday. And I think the most boxes they sold was 40 boxes, did you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, around about that. The thing is, there's people like me that jump in the truck and drive them up there, you know, and help them out. And there's ladies that jump in the vehicle and drive up there and grab the veggies and that and bring them back, you know. So it's not just that they've got to drive to Cairns or go to the farm. Is we bring it to you, and there's still no bloody support.
Still no,
you know.
And they thought of everything. They had a butcher on board. Well, Jack, they had the butcher on board. They had the baker on board. They had a chocolatier on board, a seafood merchant on board, all direct from the farm. All of the people could come down to the co-op with their own excess of passion fruit, and they could sell on Saturday. Come in, put a table up, sell the excess of your fruit. You've got lemons on your tree, bring them down to co-op on a Saturday, put them on the table. People will purchase them direct from the table. It was a community, get together idea. Have a free tea and coffee while you're there. Have a chin wag, while you're there. Meet some new people. But it's going for one more week. If it doesn't pick up, it's done and dusted. No more community service.
Food at wholesale prices.
Yes.
You get better than that.
I mean, sure. I wish you went like 200 kilometers away, and I've got a car, but so I'm going to make the effort to get up there Tuesday. That's for sure.
I think there is one in your area, Batty.
Is there?
I think there is one.
Why are they not on my podcast? Whoever's running that here, come on, get on the podcast. Let's share that wealth. Get that knowledge out there. That's what this podcast is here for.
Yes.
And I get it. Dan, you say it's not excuses, it's reality. Yeah, well, the reality of the fact that we've had cars for 100 years, the reality that supermarkets are only been around for about 50 odd years, these are reality points as well. Again, Jan, is there somebody in the chat here that can help you? I don't understand why it's so hard for people to help themselves, or at least ask for help. And I see why there's so much infighting in the freedom community. There's infighting everywhere because people just refuse to help each other. Like here we are, we're talking about people putting things together to, deal with the system, and these people need support. You know, like
Yes.
you want things to change, you've got to help it change. You can't just wave your magic wand and wish away that everything's going to get better. You've actually got to put some effort in. I'm sorry, you know. And as we were discussing last night, you know, the whole idea, you know, in the Bible there, where everybody's blaming Moses for freeing them because things were better when they were slaves. Well, if things were so good when you were a slave, you better stop complaining about, you know, elbow winning and supermarket price gouging and the, you know, all the things that are pissing us all off. And we want to change. Well, you've got to actually do something. You've got to take responsibility for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way out of this. That freedom comes at a cost, and the cost is you actually having to do things for yourself.
And it's not judgment that I'm putting down here. It's knowing the work that Colette and Lance have put in, the blood, sweat, and tears. I'm not judging anyone. You know, I'm just feeling sad for the hard work they put in to bring the community, put the unity back in community, to keep cash circulating, because you can order it, whatever you want from Mission Beach Co-op Wednesday night on the phone. Yeah, just order it. Come down and pick it up the following week with your cash. Keep cash circulating. You're helping farmers. You know, it's just a win-win all the way around. But as you say, Buddy, if a couple of them had said, hey, we can't get to Mission Beach, there's someone in Silkwood going there. There's someone in Ellarish going there. There's someone in all sorts of areas. I know one week I couldn't get. Jack brought it back to me in Silkwood. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I couldn't get there one week.
But, you know,
exactly. So there's that thing, you couldn't get there. You know, and other people stepped up to help, and that's where I'm going. You know, with you know, you can't, if you haven't got a car, Jan, I'm sorry for your situation. I don't know what your personal circumstances are, but surely there's somebody there that can help you. You know, that's what I'm getting at. Like, what's the solution to the problem? You've identified the problem. What's the solution? You know, and I think that's where things, you know, aren't going to get any better until we start dealing with the problems, actually finding solutions to the problems. And when we look at this here, you know, this area we're talking about, there's a hell of a lot of space in between these regions here, you know. You know, Mission Beach is here, El Arish is there. That's a lot. It may not look like much on the map, but that's a long drive. What's that, about 15-20 minutes, isn't it?
From me at Silkwood, it's 20 minutes to Mission Beach.
Yeah, Silkwood, is that? Oh, that's
up
a bit further
higher.
there. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are, you know, regional areas where things are, you know, well and truly far apart. You know, it's not, we're not talking about walking down the street. Yeah, effort's going to have to be made, but, you know, Silkwood doesn't even really have a supermarket, does it? It's a pretty small town.
No.
Memory.
Yep.
So your closest supermarket is all the way in Mission Beach, so it's not that much of an effort to you know, go somewhere else within Mission Beach.
No, it's not. It's not. So we're in the direction of me. I can go half hour to Innisfail, half hour to Tully, or 20 minutes to Mission Beach, and I'm at a shop any which direction. So, you know, you got to go anyway, whether you're in Ellarish, whether you're in Silkwood, whether you're in Carramine Beach, you know, you have to travel that distance to get to Coles and Woolies anyway. So, you know, I don't understand the issue. And Lance and Colette drive all the way to Cairns, all the way to Mungali every week with a truck that they put their own money into to go up and get all that produce, to bring it down to Mission Beach. You know, they're putting in that effort, and and
it's
you know,
an hour and 48 minutes along the Bruce Highway from Cairns to Mission Beach. So they're doing their 139 kilometers to help people out, you know. And this is what I'm talking about. There's somebody who's really making a big effort. I don't even want to think about what their fuel bill looks like to help the community here. You know, people should be getting behind them in this area.
$100.
But do you know what? I know Lance and Colette, if someone wanted to open a co-op in Ellerish or in Tully, I know that they would give you the training needed to open your own co-op and work together with them. Let's create 4 or 5 co-ops.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't just need one. Let's get out there and put in the effort. Create your own. If there's not one in your little town, go talk to Lance and Colette. They will give you the training, to run, because it's a not-for-profit organization. It's community helping community. So, instead of the excuses, if you've got time, give some of your time to help these people. Or even share online, if that's all you can do. Share online that there is a co-op in Mission Beach, because a lot of people don't even know it's there.
And people, the power saying maybe not enough people know it's there. Well, share this podcast. It's there now. Again, everybody get it. This is why I created the North Queensland Freedom Network, is to get this information out, ladies and gentlemen. So, do your bit, whatever you can do. I get it. Things are hard for a lot of people. I understand we all have our own lot of problems and things, but at the end of the day, we've got to find the solution through these problems. Sitting there, like I say to my daughter when she's sitting on the ground crying, it's like, crying ain't going to help anything. You got to get up and talk to Dad so Dad can help you with the problem. I can't fix something I don't know about.
Yep. Yep. We just need to come back as a community.
So we've done an hour here. Is there anything else we'd like to add to the mix? Where do people find the information? Right here on the North Queensland Freedom Network, People of the Power, and share it around.
I'll be doing a write-up later on today and sharing it on every community group that I have access to, just explaining that co-op will close unless more people step up and, start helping and supporting, these community initiatives. So I'll be, getting the message out, that way. But, thank you, Batty, for helping get the message out.
My pleasure.
Well,
Anything else you'd like to add?
If you want to talk to them, they'll be at
the meeting. Definitely. They've actually, Colette's been on this podcast in telling us about the Australian flag. Actually, we did a really good video with Colette. I've been up to their property and met them before, so it's just been a little while since I've seen them. So I'll come up Tuesday arvo, and hopefully I won't be late. We'll see how we go. Depends on the traffic and my luck during the day, I guess. And we'll have a yarn and we'll go from there. It'd be great to see you guys in the flesh.
Yep, you too. Yep. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So if you want to email me that blurb as well, I'll put it up on all my social medias as well.
I will. I've just got to type it all up and and I'll get it out to you and wherever else I can get it out to, because I don't want to see this closing. It's a great community, initiative.
Yeah, it's a wonderful idea. So, alrighty then, guys. Thanks very much for coming on and sharing what's going on. Well, let's hope we can make some positive change. It's good to see people actually, trying to find solutions to the problems that we have.
I hope to see everyone Tuesday night, 6 p.m, Alarish Hall. Any issues you have with council, it doesn't matter what it is, show up. We're there to support you.
Exactly. So it's a action group. Enough is enough. These government corporations cannot be allowed to get away with what they've gotten away with so far. It's it's our laziness that's allowed us to get this far in the first place. Let's stop that shit and start getting our act together. Because if one thing, if that election isn't as rigged as the wrestling, one thing is certainly demonstrated is we ain't working hard enough to get the truth out there. So. Time to lift our game, ladies and gentlemen.
True.
So thank you very much for coming. I'll see you guys Tuesday. I'll just tuck his backstage for a while. I'll just close up this show. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure you share this stuff around. If you're doing something awesome like a co-op, you drop me a line and we'll share this information around. You know, that's what the North Queensland Freedom Network is for, is to help get real information out there and start supporting communities above corporations and corrupt governments. You know, in the description, you'll find a link for a free 7-day trial of the Gaia network. It's something I use myself. That's why I thought you guys might like it, because I like it. You know, and if you use that link and you know, I'll get a kickback as well. Same with the Bitcoin. You know, your first deposit, you get $10, I get $10. It's a win-win situation. Same with this new one that I've just gotten onto, the stock exchange app. You know, I still haven't done anything with it. I only just got it this week myself, but you know, you drop some coin in, I get some money, you get some money. It's a win-win situation again, if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, you can just say, stuff you, Batty, I'm broke, I can't afford this shit, you know. But yeah, by all means, NQ Freedom Network at Proton Mail, and a big shout out to all my wonderful Patreons. You guys absolutely rock. Couldn't do this without all the community support in that regard, and that's just another way you can help. Of course, simple things, just liking, sharing, and commenting, and getting the information out there. Whatever you can do, you know. I don't want to hear what you can't do. What can you do? Go listen to that Michael Jackson song. You know, change starts with you. Be the man in the mirror. You know, you want to change the world, you better start with yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, till next time, do everything you can to keep this world, or make this world, a better place. Because right now, can't say stay free, because we're fucking not, are we? We are entrenched in slavery. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to cry and moan, or are we going to change the world? I know what I want to do. Have a good one.